what's up, you guys? Welcome to GT GIRLZ Garage. Didn't play the whole intro. We got smoldering fire going on here in the control booth. So we're going to wing it from here. I'm going to log off, and I'm going to let Ashley take over, and you guys enjoy the show.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm Ashley, and I am from Tracy, California, and we have Aryn. Go ahead and introduce yourself. You guys there?
Hey, Washington State, hanging out here in the Pacific Northwest. So,
My camera's giving me problems again.
Okay.
Shoot. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, we have special. I'm going to roll with it. I don't know why it's not working. So as long as you can hear me. So we got special guest Bri Lynch. Bri, I am impressed. You do a lot. Not only are you a stunt driver, you're a business owner, you're a hobby mechanic. You just acquired a 280Z. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what really got you started.
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, all the above is true. I am a professional stunt driver. That's what I do for a living. I'm a hobbyist mechanic, like you said. That's honestly just because the first car that I ever got my hands on really was not cooperative by any means. So it taught me a lot. And recently I had just joined the world of Datsuns, which is really exciting. I actually got a 77 Datsun 280Z. I got a black one. And I bought it. I was all excited about it. And then I realized later down the road, after like a couple months, that it was going to be a huge project because it has a ton of rust. And then I found another Datsun that was even cleaner. So now I have two.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I don't know what the life expectancy of the black one is going to be. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it quite yet. But the orange one is super clean. I'm really excited about it.
What are your plans for it? Are you going to strip it down, put it, media blast it, body paint, new suspension?
Oh gosh, see, I'm still trying to figure it out. So I actually ended up dedicating this orange one. We're jumping right into this.
We are. That's what we're doing.
The orange 280Z that I got, I named it T. It's actually named after my best friend, Tiara Van Nortwick. She died the day that I got the car.
Oh.
And I actually had a conversation with her about the car when I got it, and she was telling me oh, this has to be our ticket into SEMA, because we had both never been to SEMA before. So she's like, you have to build it for SEMA, you have to build it for SEMA. So I guess that's what I have to do with it now, because she died that night. So I dedicated the car to her, and I feel like that's now what I need to do, since that was the last conversation that we had. So I guess that's the plan with it. I have to figure it out. I got to figure that out. Exactly what the plan is.
So yeah, a lot. SEMA is pretty cool. We've been one time we had a car that was entered into Battle of the Builders that we did for Daniel Wu. So it was awesome to see all the different builds there and actually experience it firsthand, because you hear so much about it. You see it on, advertisements on TV, or you see pictures that people get to take. And when you go there, it's just, it was unbelievable how big it was. And this is, pre-COVID. So I'm sure, I've heard it's a little smaller now, but
yeah, I actually went this past year, and it was pretty cool. It was my first time ever going, but I was still in shock by how many people were there and just how big the space was that they had. And apparently there were a lot of halls and stuff that were empty. I was like, it gets bigger than this. I don't think I even got to see the whole show, honestly.
Oh yeah, it's
huge,
massive. Oh, you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know, my phone.
There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So your dad, Jammin' J Lynch, how did he get his start?
He was a professional motocross racer, up until he found out that he was going to have his first kid, which was me. And then he realized that being a professional motocross racer is usually a very short-lived career. Usually your career is over by the time that you're 37 is a long stretch of a career. So I guess he realized that he needed to find something that was a little bit more sustainable. So eventually he ended up working his way into the stunt industry on motorcycles. And it just kind of took off from there. He's been doing I think he's been doing stunt work since like 1993 or 94.
Wow.
Because he only got into it like a couple years before I was born, and then once he found out that he was going to have a daughter, he was like, "Oh, I really need to like jump on this opportunity and try my best to, make
And
something happen."
crash cars and do stunts on bikes for a living.
Yeah. It took him
A
a
safe
long
option.
time. It took him a really long time to get into the world of cars because, like, being a stunt driver is very, very difficult world to get into because people have to trust you with like, this ginormous vehicle that could like kill people. So it takes a really long time for people to actually like build that trust with you and trust to put you in a car. But they trusted him a little bit faster than others because of his motocross background. So
yeah, wow, very interesting. And so when you do the stunt driving, I saw on your bio that you did your first vehicle turnover at 21 years old. That's crazy. So
I was
that?
I think I was 20, and then the second one was when I was 21.
Oh, when you were 21. Wow. Well, still, I mean, that's insane. And so what was that, for a commercial or for a film?
That was for a TV show. Actually, you know what? No, my first turnover was when I was 19 on Jay Leno's Garage. I did a episode called Prodigies, and they had me turn a vehicle over on that show. And then I did my second one when I was 22, and the third one when I was 23. So it just kind of the bigger ones that I did. So the first one that I did on Jay Leno's Garage was called a Sidewinder, which it's still a vehicle turning over. It's just not the most dangerous turnover that you can do. Obviously it's dangerous because like flipping a car over is never not dangerous. But it's definitely not like creme de la creme of turnovers with vehicles. But the one that I did when I was 22 and 23 was, and that's called a Cannon. So
wow.
Yeah.
And do you're in like a real car, not because you see sometimes when they're doing filming, like it's on the back of a trailer or like the car is completely gutted. So when you're doing the stunt, is it a full put together car?
It's a real car.
Roll cage in it.
Yeah, it's a real car. They take the interior out for the most part just to have a roll cage in it. And then there's basically like it's hard to explain. It's like a telephone pole that's kind of like, it's like a pneumatic like bomb that like when you press a button, it pretty much goes off. So the telephone pole shoots towards the ground, which sends your car up in the air and it like flips over.
Oh, wow.
Again and again and again and again. So yeah, it was a real car. And it was a little bit more technical than others because it's not just like my car like blows up, like there has to be a reason that the car blows up. So I had to hit this other car first. So like basically my car does like a pit maneuver on the other car and then both of our cars turn over. So it was definitely really technical. It was like a lot of timing and stuff. So we got very lucky on that one because that was my first turnover and the other driver's first turnover. And he was like 45. So
Wow.
for me to be like 22 or 23 doing that was like, he's like double my age and he was just getting the opportunity to do it. So the fact that somebody trusted me that young to do it was like insane.
It's like you don't get to practice that. Like,
no,
you just do it. I just got what are you going to do today? I'm going to go out and practice rolling over a couple cars.
Yeah, no, you don't. You really don't get to do that very often unless you have like a razor, and you're just like dumb and you just go and practice. Like it's not the same. It's totally not the same.
Oh, that's no. Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing something like that. I'm sure it would be fun, but I mean, did you just kind of, obviously experiencing your dad doing stuff like that and being around it, that obviously piqued your interest to kind of say, hey, this is something I want to do?
Kind of, sort of, not really. I grew up racing motocross. I started riding motocross when I was 3 years old, and I started racing when I was 6. So that was, I think, my intro to motorsports, I would say. And then later in life, I tore my ACL like 3 times within a time span of 4 years. So it was obviously very difficult for me to continue riding motocross because I tore my ACL so many times. For people that don't know, ACL is like a huge surgery. It takes like 9 months to recover from. And I tore it 3 times in 4 years. Yeah. So I spent like most of my high school on crutches, which really sucked.
Yeah.
And it was really scary to like ride motocross again because I was just terrified of tearing my ACL because I didn't want to go through the surgery again. So finally, by the time that I stopped tearing my ACL, it was time for me to get my driver's license. And my first car was a stick shift. So learned how to drive that and everything. Eventually I decided that like once I started working, I was like, honestly, like motocross was too much of a risk for me to take anymore. Cause I really was like, I'm so terrified of tearing my ACL again. It's like the biggest ligament in your knee. And I've tore it on both knees. So I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. So I realized that being in the car was like the safest place for me to be. But honestly, getting into stunt driving, one of the first movies that really put me on the map was this movie called Creed. I was riding a quad in that movie. There's like this scene where we're all like following Michael B. Jordan as he's running down the street on a bunch of dirt bikes doing wheelies and stuff. And once that movie came out, I really didn't stop getting phone calls because at that point I had already discovered drifting and I was into drifting. And so my dad and I were like training some stunt driving stuff, but it wasn't like this career path that I had chosen. I wanted to be a video editor. I was actually in school for that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I started getting phone calls and stuff. And a lot of the phone calls were from people that my dad knew, or my dad would call me and say, hey, do you have a test upcoming, in the next 3 days or whatever? I was like, no. And so a stunt coordinator would call me. He'd give them my phone number because they needed a girl of my description to drive this car for a TV show, commercial, whatever it was for. And apparently there were not a lot of women in the industry of my description that did the same thing. So they were kind of always stuck. So these stunt coordinators would call me and be like, hey, if you're available, I really need you to come and help me out on this day. And I'd be like, okay, sure. Thinking that I was just doing people favors. That's kind of how I looked at it. I was like, yeah, they need me to like drive this car. My dad's not around and like they don't have anybody else to do it, so I'll do it. And then like I think after like a couple years, I realized that I like built a career and I wasn't doing anything for work, and somehow I was making money because I was doing that. I was like, oh, I'm like a stunt driver now. Cool. I didn't realize that.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. It's kind of
Just
funny
stumble into it.
but
It's fine.
yeah, like I was just, I thought that I was just helping people. Like I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Like I'll come and help you. Like.
And now you do drifting for fun.
Yes, drifting is fun for me. Yeah.
Are you competitive with it, or you just do it kind of for fun on the weekends that you're available, that you don't have a lot going on?
I would like to say that my skill level is a competitive skill level, but I don't compete. And the reason for that is because I tried to convince myself into competing for a really long time. And then the problem was then I would get a call to go on a show for like 2 months at a time, or like 3 weeks or whatever it was. And sorry, my dog is like barking. I'm trying to figure out what he wants. Yeah, so the problem was like I would go on this show for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, and I couldn't commit to going to this drift competition and like paying to go to this drift competition instead of going to work and getting paid so I could pay my bills. So because the nature of my work is very sporadic and I never really know when it's coming or where it's coming from, or when it's going to come up, I just was like, okay, I'm just going to go to work and get paid to drive rather than paying to drive. Yeah. And it's never really lined up with my schedule. And I realized later that I would kind of like, I always tried to figure out what the point of me competing would actually be with drifting, because if I did compete in drifting, I don't think that I would go pro with it because it's so expensive, and like it would literally just take away from me working in an industry that I've already created a name for myself in.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I do drift a lot on the weekends though for fun, and if I can get myself into like a 1 day competition or whatever and I happen to be in town, then that's fine. But the series of competitions, so you can earn your license, it's like impossible for me because I never know what my schedule is.
Yeah. And it seems like, plus now with your new Z, it sounds like you're going to have a lot going on, trying to do your restoration, get ready for SEMA. Do you have a goal? Like you want to try to do SEMA next year or a couple years? You just got to kind of.
I would like to think that it would be possible for me to do it by next year, especially because of how clean the car already is. So thankfully I won't have to do a whole bunch of body work or anything like that. I don't really have that kind of stuff on my plate, but I know that for some people, SEMA builds take them like 6 years. So I'm going to aim. Yeah. So I'm going to aim for like SEMA 2024, I think would be good. I think I could do it by 2023, but like 2024, I think is where I'm kind of trying to give myself a deadline for.
Wow. Are you, Aryn, are you restoring your wagon, or is it already, it's a runner?
So it runs. It's pretty much finished. There's, of course, project cars are never actually really fully done. So there's definitely, especially Datsun. I mean, there's definitely a few things that need to be kind of buttoned up on like the interior and all that. There's a couple, especially like having it parked at my dad's shop for a couple of months there. It's got a couple of dings from customers running into it. So it's going back to the body shop for that. But it runs. It's good to go. And I'm just kind of waiting to when I can go spend a couple of weeks back in Colorado and really button up the rest of it. But at this point, last time my dad drove it, just to kind of keep the fuel moving through it, we've kind of come to the conclusion that one of the piston rings in the head is cracked because it's smoking bad. So I might just have to rebuild the motor again for the second time, third time. I don't even know. But it runs, it drives.
Mine will sit in the driveway, and Troy's like, you need to start it up. You need to start it up. Like, yes, okay.
I know. Otherwise, the fuel's going to get rotten in it, and it's just not going to be good. But no, I was so mad because the first couple of years I had it, of course, driving it around, still like working on it as I'm trying to drive it and everything. So much fun, loved it, but like the smoking never really went away. And we had the same problem with my brother's wagon when he rebuilt his motor on that, is one of the piston rings went out on it. So we've kind of like, all right, established that's what happened with mine. There was just a bad batch of them somewhere. But as like anybody, especially with Datsuns, can attest to, a project car is never actually done. And there's always something. Yeah, they are.
I really thought that I got a good one.
Thank God my dad has a garage full of parts. So
yeah, true.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I jacked my Datsun up the other day. I put it on jack stands because I was gonna do something. I don't remember what it was, but I was like getting underneath my car for some reason. It was the first time that I had gotten underneath this car, and I looked and I was like, I need to do an oil pan gasket, which means I either need to drop the subframe or pull the engine on this car. And I was like, I was like sick. I literally initially I was just like replacing my alternator, and I was like, okay, cool. And I don't know why I jacked my car up. I think I'm just so used to like race cars and everything is easier to do it from underneath instead of from above. Because of the engine that my race car has, and everything's like super tight. So it's just easier for me to get underneath the car. So I think it was like habit. And I was like, oh, you have to do an oil pan gasket. I was not expecting to do that. So now the car's just like sitting on wheel dollies, and I'm like, well, I gotta pull the engine.
Sit on wheel dollies. This could be a can of worms. You're gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna take the suspension out, and then I'm gonna
I'm like, if I'm gonna pull the engine, I might as well just pull it, do all my seals, do everything,
always something
do a manual
else.
swap. Yeah, like just do it all at one time. Yep.
Yeah, or and even customers, I'm sure, Aryn, even at your guys' shop, someone will be like, oh yeah, let's I want to replace all the suspension, and then they're like, and then in a little while maybe we'll pull the engine and paint the engine bay or redo the car. It's like you don't want to pay labor twice to have that done. It's like just
do it all at once. Just
do it.
Yeah, because it's so much easier that way, because then once you start just pulling stuff off, then it's off, and you just pull everything off at once. You don't have to go back and ding something up that you've already done. Like, no.
Yeah, I know. We have a car here now that the customer, which I don't think we're going to do again, but he was like determined to have a color done on it. And first of all, to find somebody to paint it right is hard with the candy colors. And so we're like, okay, we need to put a clear bar on this whole entire car before we even do anything to it. Because if it chips, it's not like, oh, let's just mask off and fix this spot. You have to repaint the whole panel, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's obnoxious.
Troy's like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna have we don't want to do that again.
Not again. No thanks. It was a good one-time, one and done.
I mean, it's really cool. The car looks spectacular in the sun, and it's awesome. But I mean, it's going to be a street car, and it's going to get chipped. And I'm happy they painted the valance black, because that'll be easy to repaint.
Hey, smart move.
But no, I know it's always something, especially with the Datsuns. I mean, even on a race car, even a drift car, it's you're replacing parts. Parts wear out. It's constant. Tires.
Yep.
Sponsors, hopefully. Something.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you have like some guy that wants to bang doors with you and just decides to drive into your door for fun, and now your door looks like crap. It's like, thanks.
And it's hard. It's hard, I think, to being just a woman in general in the automotive industry. I feel like there's extra pressure to not necessarily prove yourself, but to make a point that, maybe I actually do know what I'm looking at under a hood, or maybe I actually, know how to drive a car. And, maybe I can outdrive you, and maybe I'll take a compliment. But, I don't know if, I just think in general, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I definitely
it
feel
reminds
like
me of that scene from, what is that old 80s movie? My cousin Vinny.
Oh, I love that movie. Where she goes on the stand.
And like, yep. It's that.
Yeah, the posi traction.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
It is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I just, I don't necessarily feel that so much now, because, Troy's reputation is been around for a long time. And I feel like I've learned a lot from him. I've obviously learned more every day, and there's a lot I don't know, but I feel I can work my way around, talking to a guy and giving him an estimate. And, I really haven't had to encounter any sort of, somebody talking down to you, or, oh, let me just talk to so-and-so because that they're talking to a girl and they're not comfortable with it. But
yeah,
so I've been really fortunate.
I deal with that all of the time.
Really? How do you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, me really learning my way around my car is what really helped, I think, because when I go on set, there's so many different positions when you're in the movie industry, and everybody's got their job, and it's really, some people take offense to it when you kind of dabble into their job a little bit. So there's like picture car prep, which are the people that make sure that the car looks good all of the time. We literally have people wiping down the car in between every single take half the time. Which is, so like when you go on set, especially like of a commercial, it's a stressful day because there's a lot more to think about than just driving, because you don't want to piss anybody off. So like, as most car enthusiasts would know, you never close the car by the window, because a lot of regular people don't think about that. You always close it by the door handle instead of by the window. And then when you're working on a car commercial, you don't roll the window down either, because if the car was wet, then it's going to have streaks on the window, and now that's going to delay production. So like, as a driver, you have to think about all these like stupid little things while you're on set, and also think about what you're doing at the same time. But aside from the picture car people, there's like car prep, then there's picture cars, then there's also on-set mechanic, right? And then after on-set mechanic, then there's like the head mechanic too, like the person that actually prepped the cars in the shop and everything, did all the fabrication if there's any that needs to be done.
Wow.
And the car mechanics hate girl drivers, because if we happen to complain about anything like, hey, I can't do donuts in this car because it's an open differential, and they're like, oh, I could get the car to do donuts. I'm like, do you think that I pulled the word open differential just out of the bright blue sky? I think I know what I'm talking about, just a little tiny bit, like, maybe. So honestly, once I started learning my way around a car, it really helped, because I could use like the actual terminology rather than just being like, I don't know what's happening, the car feels funny, like it's not doing what I want it to do, I can't get it to drift, like, or if you explain to them like, hey, I have one wheel that's locking up when I pull the e-brake versus the other one, I'm not going to be able to slide this way, but I can slide this way. A lot of the times, sometimes the stunt coordinators don't even know what I'm talking about, because cars are not everybody's expertise. There's stunt coordinators for all different kinds of things. Sometimes there's stunt coordinators for like fighting. There's stunt coordinators for falling. There's stunt coordinators for wire work, for water work, for car work. There's like so many different specialties that you can have. And sometimes there's just a car stunt that happens real quick. Maybe it's like a 3-shot type of scene or whatever, and they need a stunt driver. So when they bring me in, it actually helps when I know what I'm talking about, rather than some stunt drivers that don't work on their cars. So when the car starts making a funny noise, or like all of a sudden the axle's broken on the car and they can't figure out why the car's driving funny, at least I'm not just like, I don't know, you have to like get in the car and like feel it, because like I can't explain it, like it's like I can automatically start like thinking, I'm like, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's that, maybe it's that. So I had this one show that I was working on. It was Batwoman was like first like the like worst experience, and then it was the best experience within like 15 minutes. Like it was like the worst experience at first, because I was trying to explain to these like these picture car guys that were on set. We were at rehearsals. I was trying to explain to them, I was like, it feels like the diff bushing on this car is like bad, like it just went bad out of nowhere. It felt like the diff was going to fall out of the car, and we had been rehearsing for several hours already. I was like, it wasn't doing this earlier. Like, it feels like the diff is going to fall out. And they're like, no. It's because the car has air suspension. I was like,
Yeah, like, no.
I don't think so. I don't think that I would even know what a differential bushing was unless if I knew what it was, you know? So then eventually their head mechanic came to the rehearsal space and, like, you know, felt like he like jumped in the car with me or whatever and everything. And he's like, that does feel like a diff bushing. I was like, And then he jacked the car up. It was a diff bushing. And he's like, oh, you know what you're talking about. So, like, after...
It's like you have to prove yourself first.
Yeah. Like, after fighting with the picture car guys for, like, an hour... I was like, can you please just give me the head mechanic's phone number? Like, I don't know how much more I have to explain myself to you guys. Like, I literally build cars and drive them hard, and I, like, break stuff all the time. I really
you want to push it to the edge to break stuff so you know what it feels like before it breaks.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just trying to, you know, help. Like, you know, we got a couple days so we have to shoot. Like, if you guys need help, let me know, you know? So then the head mechanic came. Once he came, and he, like, confirmed, he's like, oh, this girl does know what she's talking about. Then the next day, I kid you not, I go to work. Every single car that is going to be driven on the show is lined up in a row, and I have a window marker for each thing, for every one of them. And the stunt coordinator was like, you're not going to drive this car today. He's like, drive all of these and tell me anything that is wrong with any of them. Just write it on the window, write a list. I was like, are you kidding me? He was like, yeah, no. He's like, the head mechanic like told me to just like have you drive them all, like drive them as hard as you can, like figure out if something's wrong before we shoot. And I was like, oh,
that's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. So I got to the point where I like predicted a couple things. I was like, yeah, the clutch is going out on like the G35. We can drive it, but like not too hard or whatever. And then we had to do a reverse burnout in that car. The clutch went like right away. The head mechanic was like, yeah, she knows her shit. Like she definitely knows. It was like, it was sick. It was cool though, because I was on that show for like 9 months. I was on for the whole season. So I like got to have a really good relationship with those guys and stuff.
Oh, that's fun. And that makes it. So what happens if you go to do this scene and the car ends up getting completely destroyed and like they don't like how the scene turns out, and like the car is obviously destroyed practically, right? So you just have another one that you get to destroy?
Depends on what it is. So like if they're doing some serious stuff, so like Fast and Furious, for example, I've worked on a couple of the Fast and Furious movies, and they always have at least 4 of every car. They have 4 identical ones. Yeah. It might look a little different on the interior. Maybe they have one for like hero shots.
Nothing you're going to notice on a quick take though.
Correct. Exactly. But on other shows like, you know, Batwoman, if I were to crash the Batmobile, we don't have another one. So, that's why they hire me in the first place, to like not crash it. You know, like
I have something to say. I crashed the Batwoman car.
Yeah. Could you imagine? God, that show was such a life changer for me. That show actually made me get LASIK eye surgery. We were shooting, and then we were shooting like all nights in Canada for like 9 months straight, and I had horrible vision, like so bad, and my eyes really did not like contacts for a really long time. And because we were shooting nights, my eyes were like more dry, so my contacts kept falling out in the middle of like what we were doing. So I'd have to use like re-wetting drops in between takes. I was like, this is dangerous. I was like, this is so dangerous. I was like, I'm just going to get LASIK. And the show actually offered to pay for half of my LASIK eye surgery because they like shipped me out there within like 9 months and like for like 9 months and gave me like no notice. I was like, all right, cool. So I like got LASIK eye surgery because I was like,
oh my. Yeah, I could not imagine getting that, like something that close to you, because you're awake when that happens, huh?
Yeah. And they offer you like what's that drug? Oh, they offer you like a Xanax like before you go. I was like, no, I don't do any kind of drugs. I was like, I don't, and like I can't swallow pills. Like can't do it. And they're like, you're not even gonna like try. I was like, no.
Oh my gosh, I'd have had to be knocked out. Like knocked
no, it was fine. Honestly, it just feels like a suction cup like around your eye for like 30 seconds.
That doesn't sound fun.
I've experienced a lot worse, so it wasn't that bad. It was actually kind of cool. Like I got to kind of like see what they were doing. It was cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't. My sister does special effects makeup. Well, she went a different route now, but she did it for movies, and she said it was always crazy being on set and the overabundance of people that there is and the budgets for each section, and just one take can take a whole week just to get a certain amount of shots. I could only imagine doing something as technical as what you had to do. You like maybe have like a really quick clip, but it might have taken you 2-3 weeks or longer just to get.
Yeah, and like a lot of the times as a stunt driver, you don't get any rehearsal time at all. They don't give you an empty parking lot, go test the car, nothing. Like a lot of the times, especially if you're on the job for like a day or whatever, and they want you to like shoot this whole car chase in a day or whatever, you don't get any rehearsal time, not even like an hour before you actually have to shoot. Because either they don't want to mark up the road, or they don't want to risk messing up the car, or they just don't have time, or the car is still being prepped, or the car didn't get approved. Like, you know, it's always something. And like a lot of times you don't even have rehearsal time at all, so you don't even get to like check your tire pressure or anything. They just like toss you in the car. They're like, okay, cool, you're done with your contract, come out of your trailer and like go. They need you. Like, right. Yeah
Fast paced,
super fast paced. Yeah,
cool job. I mean,
it is sometimes.
Awesome. Sometimes, I know it's probably a lot of hard work though too. I mean, people probably don't realize it's not just hopping in a car and going on a high-speed chase or rolling it over. I mean, there's a lot more to it to get that.
It's true. I think the craziest thing about it that I was not prepared for is like, you think that like when you watch a movie, like everything's empty, you know, like the street's empty, there's like nobody there or whatever, and like it's just these 2 cars or whatever. But like in reality, there's like a million people, it feels like. And it's like, it almost feels like you're like performing in front of like a live audience, except they're so uncomfortably close to you that you're just like, it actually gets overwhelming sometimes. I remember I was on Black Panther 1. I was in South Korea, and I did the whole car chase of Black Panther 1. I was in the silver Lexus that had the girl on top of it.
Okay.
And in between every single take, first of all, we were in South Korea. Nobody spoke any kind of Korean anything at all. Like, excuse my ignorance, but like no kind of any kind of Korean language, any dialect of it, doesn't matter. Like nobody spoke any of it. We were working at like
going to out of the country, you know, is uncomfortable. I've never been out of the country, so I could only imagine just.
Oh yeah, I was in college. I was doing online classes too at the time. Still, I was in the middle of finals to make it worse. Yep. So we were working at like the biggest fish market in South Korea, and obviously fish market, there's like fish oil and stuff all over the ground, which makes it way slipperier, way more slippery. And I have this girl on top of my car. She's like basically strapped down to this rig where they put like a seat, like they put like a pole on the top of the car, attach a seat to it, and then they have like 2 belts that go like around her legs so she doesn't fall off if I like make a hard turn. Yeah. And she's supposed to look like she's standing up or whatever. She's got the spear and everything. And in between every take, because it was like January in South Korea in the middle of the night, it's like 20 degrees outside. This girl's in a dress on top of my car. So they have like all these like hair and makeup artists and ADs and everybody. Like, I swear to you, their stomach pressed up against my window until seconds before we have to move. Because they're trying to like cover her, and like because it's like Marvel and everything, they can't have people see the costumes. There's like people lined up on the streets that they're like trying to control and stuff, like just random pedestrians, and they're like trying to like cover her.
Seeing the film.
Yeah, they're like trying to like cover her in a jacket, make sure she's warm. Do you want tea in between? Do you want coffee? Brianna, are you okay? Like literally pushed up against my car to the point where they literally say action, and I have to like yell at people to get off of my car. I'm like, you have to go. Like, we're going. There's a pack of cars that I'm chasing. I can't like catch up to them any faster.
Yeah. And do you have like, if you're chasing other cars, is there like walkie-talkies or like radios that you can communicate with them? Obviously, I mean, you would think that.
Yes and no. So it sounds practical until you realize that you're driving way faster than you're comfortable driving, and you don't have time to take your hand off of the steering wheel to grab a radio and start talking. Or if you have a camera in your back seat and you can't do anything, or you have a camera in your passenger seat and they're looking right at you, or, you know, whatever. And then like the problem also is like all of the camera car drivers, the guys that drive like the arm cars and stuff that has the camera that's, you know, the lead vehicle that's filming everybody else, they're all ex-race car drivers. All of them. Like ex-race car drivers, like I'm talking about like NASCAR, Formula One, like they're like legit dudes. So like half the time, like they're just like, okay, cool, we're gonna shoot this at a comfortable street, whatever. And then like after like the 5th take, we're doing like 3 times as fast as we originally were. So like if you're the only person not keeping up with the pack, and I'm supposed to start 3 seconds after everybody so that it looks like I'm catching up to them, I'm like, I can't catch up, but we have to like half the time, like, you have to like be so synchronized that like the cars, like if I'm weaving in between people, there's like a pattern that's set, right? And like I have to get between these cars before we go around this curve so that when we get to the next section, I can go in between these cars and it all works out for timing on camera. But they can't see me because I'm back there. So I'm like, please stop changing the speed. Like I'm trying. Like, please stop changing the speed. Yeah.
Yeah, see, all that stuff's technical.
Yeah.
You think you gotta be like on your toes, and then not only that, but you have, you know, there's people around. So if something, you know, doesn't go right,
yep,
you know, you have to be aware of that.
Yeah, so, and even if it's not me, like imagine like one of those cars would have like spun out or like hopped a curb because it's oily on the street. You know, you're basically like driving on oil, and it's wet down because it looks more cinematic. So they want everything to be raining whenever it's nighttime. So they literally wet the street down before like each shot. Maybe you get like 3 takes before they wet the street down again with like a huge water truck.
Super safe.
So like, yeah, anything can happen. Quite literally, anything can happen, and it doesn't even have to be you. It could be one of the other drivers that's like in the pursuit, you know, or like it could be, you know, whatever. It could be a pedestrian fella that was supposed to be crossing the street. You know, it's like so much stuff can happen. You have to literally have your head on a swivel the whole time. And I was like literally doing finals in between takes with like people pressed up against my window.
Yeah, so you got work pressure, then you got school pressure.
Yeah, that was a dumb idea. My dad tried to convince me not to do my online classes just for that month. He's like, please do not, like, just take the semester off. Like, he's like, please. Break. Yeah, he's like, just take the semester off. I really don't want you to be stressed out while we go shoot this thing, you know, whatever. Because it was like a couple weeks long, and I was like, no, I can do it. Dumb.
Don't do that.
Listen to your parents. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are, they probably know more than you. So just like listen to them, or at least consider what they're saying. Because I wish I would have listened to him on that one. So,
do you ever have to have anybody in the car riding with you?
Yeah, that happens sometimes too. There was another movie that I worked on. It was called Proud Mary. No, not Proud Mary. Proud Mary was one that I worked on, but there's another one where I was doubling Taraji Henson again, and it was called What Men Want. And I was actually just telling this story last night to a friend of mine. I had to do either it was a 180 or a reverse 180 up to a curb, but I literally had to do this, like, I think it was a reverse 180 up to this curb. And there's like a car full of dudes in my car. Like, it's like I'm in a 911 and I have a passenger and then 2 people in the back, and I'm basically supposed to scare them out of the car. So we do like a reverse 180 up to this curb, and like I have to stop within inches because they have an overhead shot so they can see how close I get to it. So we had to like do a reverse 180 up to the curb, and then their door opens and all of them get out because they're like scared. Oh, wow. So I was just like, you guys literally need to shut up, like, while I'm driving. Like, I was like, I was like, we can totally talk when I'm driving forward, but when we do the reverse 180, do not say a word. Like, don't scream. I don't care how close you think we are to the curb. It's not going to help me. Like, anything you do is just going to make it worse. So just
don't talk.
Yeah. I was like, this one maneuver, like everything else, we can literally have a full-on conversation while I'm in the middle of a car chase. I do not care. But when we are doing this reverse 180 up to this curb, I need you to be invisible and silent. Yeah, and I had no choice but to have them in there because they had to, like, it was like a one-shot deal where they like get out, you know?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It took them longer to get out with like all 3 of them because we were in a 911, you know, there's like barely back seats in the thing, than it took me to actually do the move. It was actually pretty comical. I was like, they should just leave the whole cut like that because it would be a funny moment. Watching all these grown-ass dudes like try to like get out of this like little car.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, a 911 doesn't really have much of a back.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, I love it.
I always joke around. I'm like, yeah, that's why I have a 4-door 510, so I could, like, you know, I'm a girl. I go shopping. I needed like extra doors for the back, but realistically, no one's going to be sitting on those springy back seats, right?
Yep. You're so
and Aryn's got a wagon, so you can fit more people.
Exactly.
No. Grocery getters are actually not that good.
No.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah, never would I though, because that back seat is awful. Awful.
Yeah, no, we don't do that. Right on the leaf springs.
No, it's fine, but like, no, they're just. I grew up in that back seat, so yeah.
What's the worst for either of you? What's
the worst crash everyone has had then?
Well, for me, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I think the worst crash that I ever had was on this show. What was it called? Oh my goodness. We were filming in Oregon, and I was doubling, I believe, Kiersey Clemens, I think. I'll think of the name of the show in a second, but it was a TV show, and I had to hit a guy with a car. So I had to hit him, which was like the most surreal thing I had ever done. I don't think I've ever been so scared in my life because like we had like rehearsed it, like so like he was standing here and then my car would go by and we were just getting the timing right. So he would just like make himself, act like he was gonna go over the hood of the car. So he would just basically like taco onto his back. And I was like rehearsing my speed and everything. It was in the snow, it was like on Mount Hood. And then I had to hit a tree. And I did not know that trees were as solid as they are. Didn't realize that. I had like the steering wheel, like a lever on the bottom to adjust your steering wheel, like up, down, in and out. That lever was down somehow and like dug into my knee. I had a bruise for like 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. I never thought about putting foam like on that part of the steering wheel. Who would have thought? I was like protecting my ankles, like I was like trying to like put foam on all this other stuff so I wouldn't like hit anything. My dad was there. He was like, I would have never thought about that. And he's like, he crashes cars all the time. He's like, I've never had that happen to me. I was like, wow, that hurt. Like, and it was, it's a tree. Like in comparison to like flipping cars over and stuff.
Yeah,
like, oh, yeah, I hit a guy and then I hit a tree and like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I definitely had some bad dreams after that one because it was like so surreal. Like I saw this guy, like, so the craziest thing was like, right, so we like rehearsed it, like I said, and I watched this guy like go up and over my car when we actually do it. I was like, okay, cool. Like, so I like did it and I was like, oh, like I like felt myself flinch. Like as I did it, I was like, hit the tree, hit the tree, hit the tree, hit the tree. Don't like stop, Like I was like, you have to continue and focus on what you're doing. And then I hit the tree. And I like looked in my mirror and he was still laying on the ground, like face down, like on the, like on his stomach, like he was supposed to be doing, like still laying there, like motionless. And I started crying like right away. I was like, oh no. And then they said cut. And
he was hurt.
Right. Yeah. Then they said cut after like a couple more seconds and he like jumped up. I was like,
you're like, oh, thank God he was just laying there acting.
It's like I completely forgot. Like I like forgot what we were doing for a minute. Like I was like, okay, like hit the guy, hit the tree, hit the guy, hit the tree, hit the guy, hit the tree, and I forgot that like they have to say cut. Like everybody just stays still till they say cut. And I was like, did I just kill this dude? I was like, oh God, I do. Woo! I was like, it's gonna
so he was a stunt guy, probably playing a character for an actress.
Yeah. He
Wow.
had done like 26 car hits on film.
Wow.
I was like, you mean you've done other ones? He's like, yeah, for like rehearsals and stuff. Yeah. I was like, you are crazy.
That
You're crazy, dude. Yeah. He's like, yeah, your dad's hit me a couple times, this one, that one. I was like, dude, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like,
Never.
okay. I was like, I've never done this before, so, wish me luck, I guess. I was like, do you have any notes for me? Like, do you want to tell me anything? He's like, yeah, just, he's like, when you hit me, like, speed up a little tiny bit when you feel me, like, hit the hood. I was like,
oh, okay, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Good note.
Wow. And so you also
okay, cool.
Yeah. Bri, you also have a business chasing checkers. Is that a clothing line?
It is. Yeah, I'm wearing one of my shirts right now, actually. It's a little dirty, but that's okay. Yeah, I do. I have this business. It's called Chasing Checkers. I started it last year. It's only been up and running for about a year now, but I think the reason that I started Chasing Checkers is because I wanted to create some type of unity in motorsports. Because I grew up in motorsports, obviously. Like I said, I started riding motocross when I was 3 years old, and I noticed, like, as I was growing up in motorsports, that there's a lot of segregation within motorsports. So, like, you don't find, like, a NASCAR driver at a Baja race, and you don't find, like, a professional motocross rider at, like, a Formula One race, or you don't find, like, a professional drifter at a Formula One race, and, like, vice versa. And I was like, why don't we have like more of a community that's just a motorsport community instead of all these individual little motorsports?
Yeah, you don't see a lot of crossover. It's like, and then everybody's like pretty die hard. They're either really into F1 or they drive F1. Then there really isn't much intermingling with that.
Yeah, there's not like a lot of like, you don't hear a lot of people's like motorsport portfolio get very diverse. And to me, every motorsport I've ever tried, I've always fallen in love with. Like I never always just been like, oh, like so like inspired as soon as I like try it, and I just want to get better and better and better at it. And I wanted other people to have that same type of experience, or to be able to have that kind of experience and have it more accessible, because I noticed that you don't really get into another motorsport unless if you like know somebody in it and they like guide you through it. So I wanted to make a brand that was going to be able to bring motorsports enthusiasts together so they can all find new motorsports that they might fall in love with and like be able to introduce each other to them. So I was thinking to myself, I was like, what is the one thing that every motorsport has in common, which is the checkered flag? And everybody's chasing the checkered flag because everybody's trying to get to the last lap of that motorsport. So, so I have like a website. I got clothing on there, but the coolest thing on there, in my opinion, is the calendar, which is a new feature that I just added to it. So you can go onto the Chasing Checkers calendar and you can just click on a date and you can find a motorsport event that's happening near you. It might be like a grassroots event. It might be like a motocross event, or it might be something like rally racing or NASCAR F1 or whatever. Or it might be like a lower level thing that's just like the locals do it. So this way, if people don't have something to do on the weekend, they can just like go on the calendar and go check something out that they've never seen before, or go make new friends or stuff like that.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's interesting because coming from a different perspective, because, you know, you are, you know, you drive, your job entails being around cars and driving. And my, you know, for me, I am around it because my husband races. We travel around the country, you know, our automotive business. I mean, I have a 510, you know, I never had any cool cars growing up. I was never in, you know, a cool car club or a car scene. It just, my life kind of evolved with it. And I think the same for Aryn, because your dad, I mean, you grew up around it. And have you done any racing at all, Aryn?
Yeah.
You have? Yeah. See, and I haven't. And so for me, being more of like,
I mean, like weekend track days kind of stuff, but like nothing ever really competitive. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's different being, you know, kind of on the spectator end of it, and how Bri was saying, you know, once you kind of delve into one, whether you're NASCAR and you're going, or you're at your local circle track dirt races, that's kind of where you stay, because you're around those people, and you know, the race family is very tight. And that's kind of just the direction that seems to go, unless, like you said, you know, somebody who, you know, maybe race stock cars, or maybe is doing motocross, or, you know, something like that. So it is really cool that you have developed a line to bring just even awareness that, hey, there's other stuff out there too. You know, we don't just race on asphalt. There's dirt, there's drifting, there's, there's F1, there's vintage racing. There's all kinds of different automotive opportunities, and different, you know, SCCA, HMSA, SVRA, you know, and the younger community, the younger crowd, that's what we have to push them to get into this stuff. Because if not, I mean, even just like vintage racing, we see all these guys who are, you know, they're older now, they're retired, they want to restore these cars, they want to go and they want to race. And so now their kids are going to get into it. So hopefully, you know, we can drive the future generation and they can be inspired by stuff, or cool clothing lines, anything to kind of entice them to just get into cars, whether it's driving or just being a spectator.
You know, and that's another thing that I've noticed too, is like, for a lot of spectators, I've noticed that like when I do talk to them and stuff, is they're like, how do you like get into it? I'm like, what do you mean? Just go to the track. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, just go to the track and like, you know, talk to people, or like, you know, figure out if it's something that you like, or like, you know, like I've never even been in a drift car before. I'm like, what? Like, you go and like watch and stuff, and like you don't like, you know, participate at all. Like you don't get to like get in the passenger seat or like anything.
Well,
so I wanted to make it like like a community, so that like people can actually like talk to each other and like actually get involved and stuff. So eventually I'd like to start hosting like meets or get-togethers, not where it's just like, oh, it's a car show and everybody like looks at each other's cars, but like, why don't we go like race go-karts, you know? So Yeah, so you can like pick stuff up from other people and like get to know people and stuff. Or like if we do like an open track day at like a motocross track or something, you know, and you can like rent a motorcycle and like figure out how to do it, or like just be around other people that are learning and stuff too. So it's like, you know, I just want people to inspire other people and to actually make a community for that, and not it be so like, this is my team and like these are my people, this is my squad. You know what I mean? Like I don't like that. I just...
Here he is on the monkey bars.
Try to take him alive.
Oh no, not again! I'm telling you, I didn't do anything.
I don't care.
We had some Simpsons there, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Classic. Classic.
No, I think that's really cool too, and I think a lot too, which with you know, kind of going back to what you were saying about just, hey, going out to the track and seeing the cars, being around it, because it can be really intimidating. I mean, if you think about, like, if you were at a drift event and you're just like, oh, well, what am I gonna do? Go up to this random person and ask them to go for a ride in their car? So it was just being out there and, you know, like you said, talking to people and, you know, making friends and trying to familiarize yourself with the different cars and the different types of racing. I think, you know, it helps. I know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I was going to say I had gone at Thunder Hill and they had the drift event. That's how I
was
met
just there. Yeah.
Were you?
I was just, yeah. So I went to Thunder Hill, not this last week, but the week before. I was down in Sacramento area visiting my brother for like a week. And we went out just to check out the track because we had never been there before. And we've heard, I mean, it's an amazing complex. So
Yeah.
of course, it's me and my dad and my brother. We show up and my brother's like 96 Pathfinder. Like three of us just like show up. And there's, you know, there's clubs going on for like the west side, east side tracks. And then we're kind of just wandering around and we like stumble upon like a drift event. And it's not, you know, it's not any real club. It's just like somebody rented out, you know, the drift pad and people just showed up. And so we just sat there for a couple hours, like watching the people on the track at Thunder Hill is cool. I mean, it's a cool track, but you can't see really enough of it for it to be entertaining to sit down and watch like a bunch of Porsches go around it. So we sat at the drift pad for like 3 hours just watching people drift. It was so much fun. Like, and of course, you know, I've never been there before. I don't know anybody there. I don't even live in the area, but like everybody was still so cool and so nice and just like, wow, this is fun. This is cool. So
yeah, Thunder Hill's
cool.
pretty. Thunder Hills, I like it. It does.
Yeah.
It is such a bummer though that, you know, you go to some of these really nice tracks and then the views are not
like as a spectator. Yeah, like it's really like as a spectator, like Thunder Hill is not that great. Like you can kind of sit on that like main straight on the east side, and it's like, yeah, you can see cars zooming past, but you're not like, you don't get to see really where a lot of the good cornering is and all of that. But I don't know, that drift pad is really cool though.
It is. But you know, if you're out there all day, like a lot of times they'll rent out the skid pad when we do our vintage events, and so sometimes we'll hit up top there because one of our friends, one of the shops right there by the.
Oh, how cool!
And it's like all day.
Yeah.
Long.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, all right.
Like too much.
No, but it's really cool. I like you know, when we go to Seattle too, that's a really fun track. Troy likes to drive, but you can't see anything there. And he went off track. I cannot remember. We've only been there a few times, but he went off track on the back side where a lot of the photographers photograph. And normally people don't go off right there. And he went off because, you know, he drives to the ragged edge, and he drove right through and got right back on the track, maintained first position, finished the race. And so now he's known as the driver that won't let the photographers photograph in that spot anymore because you know, it's like, it's dangerous. And they're like, oh, I guess the car can go off right there. So no one's there. So whoever did,
he's that guy.
Yeah, he's that guy. But yeah, so just even Road America, like I love Road America. It's one of my favorite tracks. And, you know, I've only ever been there. One time I got to zip line across the track while Troy was driving. So that was really cool. But that was like the best part that I could see of the whole, like aerial view, because otherwise it's just a bunch of redwood trees and you can't you just see the front straight, and that's about it, unless, once you watch the in-car cam. So, but yeah, Thunderhill is cool.
It was a really cool time to be. I mean, and again, we don't know anybody there, but just to go be able to wander around. And of course, there's some people who are kind of like eyeballing us going like, what are you doing here? But generally speaking, it was, it's still very open, very chill place. So.
Yeah, no, most
That's
certainly.
so cool.
Where's your favorite track, Bri?
Oh gosh. Do I have a favorite track?
Or one that you would want to visit, or you too, Aryn? Like, what's one that you would want to visit?
I'm gonna let Aryn go first.
What the heck is happening?
Oh goodness. I don't know. I mean, Thunderhill would definitely be one that I really want to go drive on now. Like that is one I really want to go. Or Circuit of the Americas, really want to go drive on that. Or Laguna Seca. Like those are my top 3. I need to go drive them at some point in my life, but that's pretty much it.
I think honestly, like watching racing, I would really like to probably go to the Nürburgring one day and just like see it, and like actually like experience that track and everything. And then there's like a lot of tracks in Japan as well that I would really like to go and like at least visit and stuff, even if I don't get to like drive on them. I think just like being there would be really cool.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I can't see anything.
I think Troy clicked the wrong link. Troy, click off that.
Oh, am I actually on?
Yes. Goodbye.
Oh, you're killing me. Are you serious? I thought I was just watching.
That link
brother,
was
I'm sitting here goofing off. I'm talking to my kid, coming back from playing golf, listening to racetrack talk. I like it.
Oh my God. I sent the link in Messenger so I could open it from my laptop, and I said, that's for me. And he clicked it to watch.
Oh, rad. I got the secret squirrel link and I wasn't even supposed to use it.
No, but you know what? We were just talking about how you went off at Seattle and now they can't photograph on the backside.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were that guy.
You were that guy.
Oh, at least you can't hear me. Well, no. I think they said that they outlawed all the photographers in that area because it's dangerous now. 30 years later, it's dangerous. It was wet, though. It was raining. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, excuses. Whatever.
Well, you still won, so that's good.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I don't mean to hijack your guys' podcast, so I'll see you in a little bit. All right, bye.
Oh my gosh,
that was pretty comical.
That was good.
I was like, hello, Troy. Who are you?
I couldn't tell. I'm like, is he really on there? He's on there. Why is he on there?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, it was really fun talking with both of you.
Definitely. It was really great to meet you, Bri. So much fun.
Yeah, it was great meeting you guys too.
I know. Thank you. I'm sorry my camera is kind of acting funky, going on and off, but I will have to try to fix that for next time.
Yeah.
You guys have any plans for any racing or any events or anything coming up? Either one of you?
Not me.
No?
I'm just over here in Atlanta finishing this show right now. Very excited to finish it. It's been a long 9 months of like back and forth trying to finish up this movie that I'm working on. It's been a lot of like crazy schedules and COVID and like all that stuff. So I'm just like kind of looking forward to like finishing this out. I'm going to be here till the end of the month. And then after that, I have an event that I'm going to set up a booth at and everything on like March 5th. And then I'm just going to try to get back to driving as soon as I possibly can.
I got a question. Is Jesse going to return in the last Fast and the Furious?
I have no idea. I literally have no. You know what's crazy is like, so I'm working on Black Panther 2 right now, and everybody's like asking me what they're gonna do because the actor died, and I'm like, I don't know. They literally show us. So the way that like when you work on like a bigger movie and like they have like an action sequence that's gonna happen, they show you this thing that's called a previs, which is a pre-visualization of what the movie is supposed to look like. So they basically do like an
animated
animation.
storyboard.
Yeah, animated
Very
storyboard. Sometimes they use like Hot Wheels and they'll do like a stop motion thing just to get the point across so that everybody knows what's going on. Yeah, so they like show you so you know what's
You're
happening.
like, this is what you're gonna do.
Yeah, they're like, this is what happens, and then this thing happens in the sky, and then this thing happens, and then
Oh,
you know,
you're
all
good.
that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
And I literally get to see the previs sometimes if I'm lucky, and that's literally
Hey.
it.
I'll tell you.
And I don't get like
No,
anything about any of the characters or anything. Half the time, I don't even know who I'm driving for. I just am like,
Oh,
all right,
wow.
cool. The car does this, goes down this alleyway, and then it flips over. Cool. It's good to know.
Yeah.
Like these are the pieces of the puzzle, you know.
Well, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Hey, real quick,
Yeah,
y'all, before I forget, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors. Excuse me, Donuts and Wheels at Donuts and Wheels on Instagram, Donuts and A&D Wheels on the internet. We also got ZOCIETY, ZOCIETY _ that's on Instagram, society.org. We also got GripRad at GripRad on Instagram, griprad.com. And we got Simtec Motorsports at Simtec Motorsports in simtecmotorsports.com. So hit up our sponsors, show some love. Also check out Chasing Checkers. What's it? ChasingCheckers.com?
ChasingCheckers.co.
Oh, .co. See, company. See,
Mhm.
see balling over there. Balling.
Now I gotta get myself
Big business. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
Yeah, so
you.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, yo, real quick. Everybody plug your social medias real quick, please.
What do what? I didn't hear that part.
Everybody plug your social media sites and websites. How can people find and follow you guys? We'll go with Ashley first.
So you can find me at Datsun 510 Queen or ermishracing.com. And yeah, give us a like and a follow, and you can see all of our cool, crazy Datsun 510 builds and all of our racing adventures, lots of track pictures and such. So yes.
Aryn?
I am just at Aryn.Davy on Instagram. It's the only thing I got. So Davy, Davy. So
Yeah,
And
you can
tonight-
find me on social media between Chasing Checkers, and my other Instagram account is called Helmet Hair with 2 R's, and that's also my YouTube channel name as well.
That's awesome.
Where did helmet hair come from?
You know what? When I was a kid, I used to get made fun of quite a bit for riding motocross. So I started tucking my hair in my helmet so people wouldn't recognize me so easily. So I always had helmet hair when I would take my helmet off. And then almost every sport that I ever did involved a helmet. So I always had helmet hair. Now my hair has actually adjusted to that quite nicely. So I don't really get helmet hair anymore, but you know, it's an alliteration. It sounds great.
it's back.
Your hair adjusted.
Yeah. Bri, you
I
have,
don't-
so is it there's shirts and sweatshirts or stickers or swag and stuff that we can buy on Chasing Checkers?
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. There's like jet tags that I have on Chasing Checkers, and then there's also like hoodies, t-shirts, stickers, all kinds of stuff, anything you can think of.
Awesome.
Well, I know
Cool.
where I'm going next. So
I know, right?
Thank
I-
you. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, ladies, is there anything else? I believe we might need to sign off here. I got a smoldering mess back here. Apparently, when the show went live, it decided to go public, so everything hasn't been streaming live, so I got to upload it after we sign off here.
No.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, I
I'm
was
like,
looking at the comments, and it said, it was weird because it was saying how it says YouTube doesn't support comments on a private video, and so I was like, wait a minute. But it says live in the corner, so I was unsure. I didn't see any comments, but I guess there'll probably be comments after if people watch it or stream it later.
Well, you know, the control booth went down like the Titanic, so I got a lot of hack, and I need you to fix this bicycle for me. So.
Hey, it's all a learning curve, right? It's okay.
Dumpsterfire.com. But the stream went great other than the fact that nobody saw it live.
Hey, yeah, so if it did go bad, then we don't even have to post it, right?
We're
No,
fine.
Yeah. There was a certain couple of glitches. I was like, oh God, can I edit this out? I was like, nope. They told me the same thing. You cannot mess around with this right now. We are broadcasting. I'm like, to who?
it's okay. I don't know what was going on with my camera. I'm trying to like get it. I click it. It says it says start cam or start, and then it's on, but it's like it won't come on my thing. So I don't know if there's like some sort of a delay but I figure if I keep clicking it, something bad, worse is going to happen. So we'll just leave it how it is.
I'd rather crash my car into a tree than deal with these technical glitches next week.
Bri has done that.
Put foam everywhere.
Everywhere. Can't
Everywhere.
can't believe the latch got jammed into your. That's crazy.
I was
that's
like,
crazy.
How? I was like, how is of all things? I literally like put foam on like the e-brake pedal on the left-hand side. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
God.
I like put foam everywhere and like that of all things. I was like,
Well,
are you kidding me?
you ever seen how those Dukes of Hazzard cars were built? Like the few, like there's like 13 of them that still survived. I like the 300
Yeah.
they crashed. Yeah, those things are literally they're quasi death traps, but they worked for the most part.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's like padding on things you wouldn't think would be padding on, and things
Yep.
that should have padding, but I don't know.
Mhm.
A lot of
Yeah.
broken backs in that production, but yeah, I didn't know you were a stunt car driver until Ashley told me a couple of days. I was like, what? And man, you've been talking off and on for like about a couple of weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought you were just a drifter. I knew he was out here doing Marvel movies and stuff. I was like, oh wait, there's some couple of cars I want. You might know where they at, you know? I was like, I'm gonna put in the comments. I was like, wait a minute, no, that might go live. I was like, wait a minute, we ain't live. I'll private message you later. There's one particular car I've been trying to chase, and nobody knows where it is. I've been watching like ending credits of this show, like trying to find out who the transportation people were, and it's like not
Yeah.
listed. I was like, bastard. And then the car turned up. The car turned up in the episode of Everybody Hates Chris yesterday. I was like, oh wait, that's gotta be the same car. There's no way that.
What the?
Yeah, it's a car being chasing. That's in a really it's not on the air no more, but it was a really good show. It's like a modern day A-Team, so to speak. But then the show got canceled after, I don't know, a few seasons, right? So I'm watching Everybody Loves Chris because my wife got me watching it now. And lo and behold, the car showed up. I'm like, oh, it's got to be the same production crew providing that thing. I was like, okay, I got it. It's somebody's got that car. Anyway, yeah. So you're my inside Hollywood person now, Bri. So Hollywood insider for
Sorry.
Hollywood cars
No, it's
with
so
Bri
funny,
Lynch.
like how many
I know.
podcasts I end up doing, and like people like halfway through the podcast are like, "Wait, you're a stunt driver?" I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't."
Like,
I thought
that's what I do.
I was like, I thought that's what the whole thing was about. They're like, "No, I just thought you like built cars in your garage and like you just drift." And I thought that was cool. I was like, "Oh, that's awesome! I love that." But
yeah.
yeah,
I know I had to do a little bit of research when I saw it, but because I'm like, okay, that's cool. She's got, a Z car, she does drifting. And then I'm like, wait a minute. And that's when we were like, she looks familiar. I'm like, we need to Google this. We need to Google her.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's something I talk about a whole lot. I think it's like childhood trauma, honestly, because like my dad being a stunt driver growing up, like people were trying to be my friends for the wrong reason. So it's not like something that I like plaster all over the internet or like tell everybody as soon as I meet them or anything.
Right.
Which is funny because everybody thinks like, I mean, a lot of like stunt performers and stuff, they all like brag about their career or like, Hollywood, like now, like everybody calls himself a stunt performer now. And like, I just, I know that within the industry, like people that know. So like, it's not like, I don't know. Everybody's got a job. We all have one,
Do you know a guy named Brian Cartargo? Brian Cartargo. He's a martial arts stunt guy. He's like worked with like all the like big name Hollywood. He knows Daniel Wu's a good friend of his.
Daniel.
Yeah. He's I guess he does like stunt double work, but he's like this wushu like grandmaster. But he's also a Datsun guy, and that's how I met him through Datsun. I was like, wait, you're a Hollywood stunt guy? You mean like like for real, he's like, yeah, he like started showing me like all these YouTube links and everything, like different shows he's been. I was like, oh, dude, that is. I was like, what? And I think he's worked. I don't know. You guys might be working on the same Black Panther movie or whatever, because he's done like I think a couple Marvel movies here or there that's been released or whatever. So I don't know. You guys probably run in the same circle, just on the different production unit or something.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably exactly what it is. And it's funny because a lot of the times people do ask me if I know a stunt person that they know. And I'm like, honestly, if they're not a driver, I probably don't. Because one thing that happens very often when I'm on set is sometimes I even end up working with someone. And then like years later down the line, they're like, hey, good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. And I'm like, yeah, when was the last time that we saw each other? And then they mentioned the movie. And I'm like, you were on that? But you know what it is? It's not even like I have a very good memory. I try my absolute hardest to remember people's names, and like I'm very good at remembering birthdays. I know faces, I know people's dogs' names, people's cars. But the problem is like when I'm at work, because I'm usually in the hot seat, 90% of the time I hardly have enough time to go to the bathroom without them asking me to hurry up and get back in the car. So if I don't get to directly interact with that person, meaning they're not the person that I'm chasing, not the person that's chasing me, I'm not weaving in between them, or they're not crashing into me, I hardly even get to talk to them, you know, because I'm like stuck in the car the whole day.
And there's so many people
like,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I try really, really hard to remember people and stuff, but like half the time they're all on the call sheet and we work on something for like 3 weeks and they all get to like hang out together because they're like not in a car. So they're like, you know, people on the street, or they're fighting each other, or they're this or they're that, or somehow the two characters interact, versus me, I'm like in a car. So unless if you were like my passenger or like we're getting into a car crash together, I don't get to talk to anybody, and they just like, get back in the car as soon as you can. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I need water. Like, wait.
I got so many questions and not enough time. I got so many. I'll be here the rest of the night just talking to you. I was like, hey, what you say? Because I'm a movie buff. I'm specifically a car movie buff. You know what I mean? So it's like, I got so many questions for you.
I'm totally the opposite. I'm the person that like literally takes 2 years to watch a show on Netflix that everybody talked about. I like don't even own a TV. I don't even have a TV in my house. Like I don't like watch media of like any sort really. I just kind of like do my own thing. And
you got a smartphone, right?
Yeah, but I don't even watch like
you got a smartphone, right? Then you got a TV.
Yeah.
Then you got
just
I don't watch anything.
Yeah,
I know, but I don't watch anything. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm not like people would expect. They like make like movie references and stuff, and I have no idea what people are talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Here's a question for everybody. Has everybody here seen the movie, the Quentin Tarantino movie, the one with Death Proof? You haven't. You're a Hollywood stunt driver, and you haven't seen Death Proof. Death Proof. Aryn, you seen it?
Yeah, no.
Aryn has. Okay, you knew this was coming. How you knew this was coming?
Everybody in the group chat.
Wow. Hold on. So nobody here has seen Death Proof but me.
I have not.
No.
Okay, that is okay. You know what? We're going to reconvene a month from the day. This is y'all homework assignment. All right. Consider this your book report. Everybody's got to see Death Proof and report back to me. All you guys are race car women, and you are you? Oh my God! No, you guys are going to feel shame. You guys are going to come back begging my forgiveness. I'm just looking at you all.
Have not. Nope.
You knew this was coming, Bri. So you've had this conversation before. You had this conversation before, have you? You had this conversation before because you knew this was coming.
Oh, what about me not watching anything? Yeah, that's why I mentioned it before you even threw a movie at me. I already knew. I was like, here comes an iconic movie, something like Rush or like, you know, I don't know, Gone in 60 Seconds or something that I'm going to be like, nope, haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody saw, oh my gosh, Yellowstone. I'm like, I have not seen that.
Yellowstone?
You know, I saw Kill Bill for the first time like maybe 4 years ago.
Which one was it?
Kill Bill?
Kill Bill. Yeah, no, I haven't.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen that.
Was not a fan of that. I was like,
you must be really bad at pop culture references. Pop culture jokes.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Like I'm always like, what? I'm so behind, but it's because I like stay in my own little bubble because I try my best to like, I don't know, be progressive and like just get things done. So I'll get like sucked into my phone super fast. So like I don't even have Instagram notifications on, which is why it took me so long to get the link. I was like, oh wow, I'll be ready in like 20 minutes. My bad, because I don't even have notifications on because I like don't get on it that often.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing though. You
Yeah.
actually be productive and get some other stuff done.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Like the phones and stuff will just suck me in. I'm just like, can't
I know,
do
and you
it.
can, and now it's just so easy to, like you say, get sucked into so many different things. You're like, first it's Facebook, then it's Instagram, then it's Google, or then it's a recipe, or then it's Pinterest. It's like on and on. It's never
Never
ending.
ends.
Yeah.
Never
I
It's
keep
ends.
it down to two
exhausting.
things: Facebook and Instagram. Anything else is not
Yeah,
Well, you've got a
conducive.
YouTube channel too. So what you mean? Now you got 3.
exactly.
Okay,
Hey.
3. Well, that I count YouTube as TV. So
Oh my gosh.
That's why I like
Yeah.
YouTube so much, because I can just kind of like zone out and like make my content, you know, and not actually have to be like interactive on it until it goes live. And then I only have to do that for like a couple days. And then
Right.
like the comments slow down, and then I'm good. And then I can
Yeah.
go away for a week and be, you know, like hibernating with my camera somewhere.
Yeah, once the algorithm decides it's gonna put its ads somewhere else.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know, because now they've got the YouTube Shorts and the stories and stuff, and I'm just like, I can't keep up. I can't.
YouTube Shorts is their attempt to beat Instagram. Because like I
Yeah,
haven't seen
and then-
anything cool on YouTube Shorts except for girls in bikinis. Not that I'm complaining as a guy.
Oh, you
but
haven't
I
watched?
mean,
You
like,
don't watch Peter McKinnon then?
I watch everything, but I have yet to see Jay Leno's Garage put on a YouTube short. Like the only thing that's coming across is like Victoria's Secret models, and I'm not subscribed to none of that stuff. I'm like,
We
what?
had, we
Peter
did
McKinnon makes some fire
Greg Elliott, his 510. He was the set master for Jay Leno, and we did, that was the blue 510 that they did on Jay Leno's Garage. So that was pretty cool.
Nice. That was a good
Yeah,
episode.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, when are you guys gonna get on there, Ashley? Get on Jay Leno's Garage.
When what?
When are you guys gonna get on Jay Leno's Garage? Ain't like you guys ain't got a whole like museum of cars you guys done built.
Well, I don't know. Troy, when are we gonna get on Jay Leno?
I know a
nothing
guy.
personally, but I mean, that was one of the builds that we did, a complete restoration on Greg's car, and that was actually really fun. That was a while ago. We're building a vintage car right now for Adam Carolla, and so that'll be really a fun reveal. So that's kind of something that's in the works. And I think Daniel Wu, he acquired a race car year before last, so he's going to be doing some more vintage racing again this year with us too. So those are kind of, you know, some of the bigger names, I guess, for cars that we've worked on. But you know, we've done a lot of historical stuff too. If that was, you know, bigger back in the day, you know, we did some of the Bob Sharp cars, and then the Dave Frolston 510, which is known as one of the winningest 510, you know, back in the 70s. So that was also really
cool.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, I know that car you're talking about. Yeah.
The yellow and black one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it says Clover Plastics on the front. Rob Dyson, we restored that 510. So that was also another historical one. But you know, there's a lot of events too that are going to be Isaiah. You know, you guys got to come out and come to California. We got so many tracks out here that you guys can come watch some of the vintage events. The Rolex reunion at Laguna is going to be pretty fun this year.
Oh, that's so cool. When is that?
That one,
Yeah.
I think that's in May.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, I have to look at my calendar. We got
Send it to me when you figure it out, because I would love to go. That'd be really cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't think. I don't know. We got so much on.
I'm looking at May 26th for Bri Lynch Part 2. What do you guys think?
May 26th.
March 26th. We can talk about Death Proof.
About Death Proof. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I want to get your insiders because this is literally right up your alley. It's basically a movie about you, Bri. Literally.
No.
I kid you not. And it's a Tarantino movie. It's a Tarantino movie.
Am
So
I
you know it's
gonna
gonna be
learn
awesome.
anything? Is it like a historical? Like, am I gonna learn something from it? Is it like any kind of motorsport history or no?
You're gonna
Or is
learn
it like-
a lot of everything.
Is it like completely fictional, or is it like based off of like a true thing?
I would say half and half. If you knew the story, I guess if you knew who who those people are that the story's based on, maybe. But I'm not really into that kind of scene like that as much as you are. Like I said, it's literally a story about you. Put it that way. It's got Star-Lord's dad. What's his name? Wyatt Earp. Somebody help me. The guy
Wyatt
played
Earp.
Wyatt
What are you
Earp
talking
in
about?
Tombstone.
Tombstone?
Yeah.
Tombstone. That's like my favorite movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Another classic. You gotta watch
I'll be
that.
your
Just
Huckleberry.
for the one-liners.
Yes.
It's a horror film?
I
No,
got
it's not a
two
horror
guns,
film. It's
one
an
for
old
each of them.
western.
It says Death Proof is a 2007 American horror film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, Death. No, I thought he was talking about
Death Proof's not a
Tombstone.
horror film.
It says horror film.
It's more of an action pursuit film. Remember, action
It
pursuit
says
used
as
to be a
a
genre.
stuntman who murders young women with modified cars that he what?
Can't
Oh,
read
yes,
it.
Isaiah. That's what I want to watch.
Oh my god.
It's
I
not
don't
even.
want
Oh, dude, it's not even as bad as what that bogus description made it. It's really an action pursuit movie. Okay. Imagine a car chase from Bullet, but extended to an hour and a half.
Oh my god.
We're just gonna have to
have
Yeah.
a watch $30 million.
Awesome.
Oh,
Huh?
my God.
Did you know that their budget was $30 million and box office made 30.7, so they like barely broke even?
Oh shit.
Yeah. The whole story behind that was Disney was hating. Disney sabotaged it because Tarantino wouldn't play ball. So what Disney did was they pretty much blackmailed all the movie theaters to not show his film. Yeah.
What?
People don't realize Tarantino's got that kind of power, right? Because Death Proof was part two. It was the second movie of a 2-movie marathon, like in the 70s, right? They used to show two movie marathons for the price of one movie ticket, right? So that was his idea, was to put out this 3-hour movie but only pay one price. So theaters was already upset about because they're trying to get that turnover, get people in and out as many times as they can throughout the night, right? So they were already upset about it, but everybody in the reviews, critically, and like the audience was saying this is a great effing movie, right? And then Disney came along and said, hey, well, you know what? We got this other movie coming out, and Tarantino's taking up space. So if you guys don't show our movies, if you guys won't take out the Tarantino movies, you won't get none of our Disney movies. And all the theater chains bowed down to Disney. So that's why, Death Proof didn't get no box office because it wasn't in the box office.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but DVD sales and Netflix, DVD sales and streaming, oh, dude, they went off the charts. That movie's, good time. Let's watch Death Proof.
How do you
Let's watch
know
Death
so
Proof.
much?
I know.
I'm a movie buff and a car nerd. Yeah. I'm a movie buff and a car nerd. You know what I'm saying? Because I studied in high school to be an animator originally, right? And then
that's so cool.
Yeah, so this is like back in the mid 90s. And so this is like around the time just before and during Spawn and all them came out, right? When like all the Marvel DC writers started to defect and when they realized, I'm drawing all these cool comic books, writing all these cool stories, writers and directors, but we don't own none of the rights. So they start to defect and like create their own studios. That's how you got Spawn with Image Comics and all these other comic companies started coming out. Top Cow and all these guys, right? So I started getting into into the production side of media, basically. So when I would see a good movie on TV, for example, and then hear how like the critics are bashing it, when you do the investigative work, you kind of find out a lot of the critics are shills. In other words, they're getting paid by movie studios to bash other films to prop themselves up. It's a whole political game, which is garbage. It really should just be about the art. You know what I mean? That's why when Death Proof came out, I was like, this is the best car movie, one of the best car movies ever. And I was like, why is this not getting any kind of traction? And then come to find out Disney was being, a dick. But
yeah.
Well, we'll have to watch it now.
Disney owns like everything now.
Yeah, it's hardcore. It's hard, but it's not violently gory like what was that one? Pulp Fiction. It ain't that kind of violence. They like gratuitous violence for
Pulp
being
Fiction
violent.
really like turned me off from Quentin Tarantino movies. I didn't watch a whole lot of them or anything, but I was like not a fan.
It was overrated in my opinion. It was good, but I've seen better. like the Hateful. I want to say the Hateful Eight was one of his good ones, but I seen Quentin. There's been many more Return to movies before and after. That's way better than Pulp Fiction, but Pulp Fiction, I guess, got so much traction because it had like this massive all-star cast. So I get it, I get it. There's some of the stories could be standalone great movies in their own had they, chose to delve into that. Like the one with the story with Bruce Willis and Vin Rames, that was good. I like how that turned out. I was like, oh, that's crazy. But then Bruce Willis, came back and saved the day at the end. So I get the Maddie part of that. It's only so many times you see somebody's head get blown off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You gotta start being creative.
I love you, Tarantino. I love you. I get what you're doing, and I'm behind you 100%. But I'm sorry, but Pulp Fiction was not one of your best movies. It's up there. But I like some of your other ones better, like Death Proof.
Yeah.
Sure, not all of them can be the best, No.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's all about the Paw Patrol and the Peppa Pig at my house. So
second on that, girl.
No.
Paw Patrol,
exactly.
Peppa Pig, Bluey.
I know.
Bluey. That's my
Bluey.
shit.
She's
Bluey.
not really into Bluey. No.
Oh, Bluey.
No.
Blue's okay, Blue's Clues too. But Bluey put stuff in there for the adults.
Bluey is like a copycat. Bluey's hijacking Blue's Clues.
It's like a what?
It's a copycat. You can't have another blue dog.
Nah.
It doesn't work. No.
Have you seen an episode where Bluey? Have you seen an episode where Bluey's dad takes Bluey's little sister? She wakes up early in the morning, right? So dad's always usually up early in the morning going to work, right? So usually it's just them two up like super early, like 5, 6 o'clock, right? So they go to the park, and there's another dad with his daughter doing the same thing. So the two girls become best friends. They're playing the park. Meanwhile, the two dads are sitting on the park bench, right? And they just kind of on their cell phones. They kind of look over each other real quick and go, "What up?" Like, just a little quick head nod, like black folk on the hood, and then start looking at the cell phones, going back to type. I was like, "That's what it's like in real life. That's what it's like." The kids are playing, the adults are on their cell phones. I was like, "That's accurate."
Oh my God.
Accurate.
Oh, that's
Yeah, just real quick. What up? And then head back down.
That's funny. So the Rolex reunion, Troy corrected me. It's in August. It's the weekend of the 21st.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Sweet.
and so they're supposed to have a special vintage run group for B Sedan. So that'll be
August 21st.
Oh, a saloon group.
I'll watch this.
Pre B Sedan.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
there. I'll drive down.
Heck yeah.
I'm
That's
going
so
to
sick.
send my kids. You just leave them there. Okay. Love you. I have my own Bluey moment.
Uh-huh.
I watched this, baby. I got it. All right, ladies, I'm going to sign off here and watch you guys from behind the scenes. When you guys are ready to log off and do your thing, go ahead and I'll turn the show off.
All right. Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta start making dinner for Holly and Troy. He's hungry.
It's about time.
It was great talking
And on that
to you
note,
guys.
we're out of here.
Thanks,
Likewise,
guys.
likewise.
It was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me and Bri. It was awesome talking with you, and
Yeah, definitely.
it was really cool with the stuff.
Yeah, you guys too. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, Aryn, good talking to you too.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
All right, bye.
See you guys in a month for part 2 where we review Death
Oh
Proof.
boy.
Death row.
Okay,
Later.
we're doing it. Part 2.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
All right,
Fine.
we'll
Bye, y'all.
review the movie. We will be the critic.
Amen.
Scathing
Bet.
reviews.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Good night, ladies. Later.
Bye.